The weekend violence in China is receiving international condemnation, but on a morning jog today in his home in Kennebunkport, Maine, President Bush refused to comment. But he is coming under increasing pressure from congressional leaders, both Democrats and Republicans, to end military aid to the Chinese government.
I think it would be politically unacceptable and morally unthinkable, Leslie, for us to continue selling arms to a country which is engaged in the wanton slaughter of its own people.
So Lars says that if President Bush doesn't take action against China, Congress will. The events in Beijing have touched off demonstrations in dozens of cities in Asia, Europe, and the United States. One of the protests was in Cambridge this afternoon with an estimated 500 people, including many Chinese students from local colleges. Eyewitness newsman Mike Macklin reports.
Democracy now! Democracy now!
Horrified by reports of the massacre of student demonstrators in Tiananmen Square, close to 500 Chinese students gathered on the MIT campus in Cambridge for a rally and memorial service. Speakers related sorrowful accounts of the events taking place in Beijing.
Those armored trucks and tanks just rolled over those more than 1,000 people lying on ground, crushed them, and then they put gasoline on those bodies and set it to fire.
Other speakers included Massachusetts Senator John Kerry, who said the United States government has a solemn obligation to the student demonstrators in Beijing.
These are not the happenings of a weekend. These are the happenings of an epoch, the happenings of a lifetime. And they demand a moral and political response by the leader of the Western world that says we will not tolerate this kind of killing anywhere on the face of this planet.
Chinese students able to communicate with relatives back home told personal stories of horror.
A lot of people died, my neighbor, my brother, my sister, All of the people, we are familiar, It's incredible,
A lot of girls died because, they cannot run fast. And the guy and the boys, goes away so fast. But the girls, most people died are the 18-year-old girls.
After a day of watching in horror the developments back home in Beijing, the Chinese students living here in Boston say the time for action is now. Tomorrow, they will gather in Washington for a national expression of their outrage and sorrow. Mike Macklin, TV4 Eyewitness News, Cambridge.